All right, if you will do a roll call and declaration of conflicts of interest, please.
Councilmember Abram?
Hearing none.
Councilmember Bixel?
Hearing none.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Hearing none.
Councilmember Phillips?
Hearing none.
Mayor Bublak?
Hearing none. Thank you for that. All right, approval of agenda is posted or amended.
So moved.
Second.
We have 2 motions, 2 seconds. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Abram? Yes. Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, passes on a 5-0. All right, now moving to proclamations and presentations. We will start with Turlock Police Department Animal Services. Supervisor Katie Walter, bringing in somebody. We got a puppy, an alligator. What do you got? Okay, cute.
Good evening. So with me tonight, I have Bo Peep. She has been with us for about 2 months at the shelter. Her brother already got adopted. His name was Woody, so went with the Toy Story theme. She is part of our Doggy Day Out program, so she's gone on a few outings, has done excellent, great in cars, very polite on the leash. She's treat motivated, highly trainable. I'm waiving her fees for her adoption. She really needs to get into a great home. We are having an adoption event this Saturday at Pet Supplies Plus called Spring Fling. It starts at 12 o'clock, so if anyone's able to join us, we'd love to see you there.
Awesome.
She's just about 1 year old.
Uh-oh.
I think she's about full grown.
And a lot of life left there for a lot of years right there.
Bo Peep. Bo Peep Petrolakis. That sounds right.
I'm not quite sure.
That's fair.
But her brother looked Basset-ish,
Yes.
so I'd say a Basset mix.
Oh, wait, he's got to get a photo over here.
Please let him take a picture.
So it'll be Bo Peep Petrolakis. That's the name of the dog. Yeah, I like it. I'm OPP.
Yeah, you know me.
Come on, sold. You get it? All right, thank you so much. Okay, next proclamation is Chief Hedden with Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week. That's Bo Peep Petrolakis. We're selling this puppy.
No fees tonight.
Special deal.
In honor of Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week, April 13th through 19th, 2025, whereas the National Animal Care and Control Association has designated the second week of April of each year as Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week, and whereas the various federal, state, and local government officials throughout the country take this time to recognize, thank, and commend all animal services officers for their dedicated service they provide to their communities. Various public safety and public service agencies and departments throughout the country. Whereas the Turlock City Council would like to express its sincere thanks and appreciation for the outstanding service Turlock Animal Services provides on a daily basis to the residents of the city. And whereas the City of Turlock Council recognizes animal services officers for the many dedicated and long hours of service they perform in serving this community and for fulfilling Turlock Animal Services' commitment to providing the highest and most efficient level of customer service. Whereas the Turlock City Council wishes to commend each and every animal services officer for their excellent service, which is in keeping with long and distinguished tradition of animal care and control profession. Now therefore, on behalf of Mayor Amy Bublak and the entire City Council, I do hereby proclaim April 13th through 19th, 2025 as Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week in the City of Turlock.
Is Bo Peep going to speak? Awesome. You're up again, sir.
All right. And next, in honor of National Telecommunications Week, also April 13th through 19th. Whereas emergencies can occur anytime that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. And whereas each day, over 500,000 public safety telecommunicators answer desperate calls for help, responding with services that save lives and property of American citizens in need of assistance. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our residents have with emergency services. Whereas the residents of the city of Turlock rely on their knowledge, professionalism, as they make critical decisions, obtain information, and quickly dispatch needed aid. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from residents who telephone the City of Turlock Public Safety Communications Center, and whereas each public safety telecommunicator has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Our public safety telecommunicators serve our residents daily in countless ways and deserve our heartfelt appreciation. I call them dispatchers, it's shorter.
It's okay.
Now therefore, on behalf of Mayor Amy Bublak and the entire City Council, I do hereby proclaim April 13th through 19th as National Telecommunicators Week in the City of Turlock. And I'll-
No one to accept?
Dispatch is a tough role. I will be here to accept on their behalf. They're the
Wow.
only service within the police department that are stuck and confined to their room, and they don't get to get out if they don't
I
have
think it's
additional
called
coverage. so.
kidnapping, but okay, whatever. Thank you, sir. All right, Detective Urban, you're up. From the outside, you came rolling in. I bet.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Nate Urban. I'm a detective with Turlock Police Department. I want to thank the Mayor and Council for supporting the efforts Turlock Police Department has made against combating organized retail theft. Chief, thanks for letting me speak for the department and all the work that everyone's done at the department. In November of 2023, Turlock Police Department began working with the California Highway Patrol, doing organized blitzes at Monte Vista Crossings Retail Shopping Center. We work with the team with the District Attorney's Office, the District Attorney's Office's investigator, along with other agencies, Modesto Police Department, Sheriff's Department, to combat organized retail theft. During these organized blitzes, there's zero tolerance for theft. While officers are communicating with asset protection folks inside of the store, a person's identified, they're contacted and arrested. There's zero tolerance during these blitzes. When you steal, you get arrested. These numbers here don't completely reflect, don't paint the entire picture of thefts. These are, in Turlock, these are thefts just during the blitzes. There's also a large amount of investigations conducted during normal business hours, not just during the blitzes. There's a major retailer that asked not to be named, but I was told that the Turlock store has the most arrests in the nation at this store that has.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that's due to us being number one is because of the effort the police department is making at the stores. Chris is a member of the community. He works asset protection at one of the stores. So he wanted to come up and speak about our work with asset protection folks.
Hello, everybody. My name's Chris. I work as the loss prevention supervisor for one of the stores on Monte Vista. When I first started in 2019, our store was rated within the top 10 in the company for loss due to theft. With the help of the blitzes, we are now number one in the nation for our company for arrest. Consecutively, since we started doing the blitzes, our numbers have increasingly gotten better. Inventory has gotten better. The blitzes have been such a help. It makes the shoppers feel safe, and it's been making a statement to the shoplifting and the ORC community that the theft will not be tolerated in Turlock, and it has made a huge difference. I'm very thankful for Nate and the Turlock Police Department for what they've done for us.
Just wrap up on what Nate's done. His team has done a tremendous job, and you can see that the council has made a significant investment in organized retail theft. And you can see the numbers here that Nate put together in terms of recovery. And the city does have an investment, but the message is that we're not going to allow our businesses to be run out of town by people who take advantage, and we're not going to allow Turlock businesses to close up due to theft if we can keep from that. So I want to thank the council for their support. I want to thank Nate and his entire team that makes this happen for all of the work that they do. Thank you.
All right. You ready?
No.
Okay. You ready to go to, I don't know, another country?
Yes.
Okay. So this proclamation is in honor of all of your service to us and probably the whole county, quite frankly. But this is whereas City Manager Reagan Wilson has dedicated his life to public service and has earned a reputation as a compassionate, hardworking, and dedicated individual who has made significant contributions to the city of Turlock. And I'll go ahead and add in the county. Reagan began his distinguished career with the United States military, proudly serving his country with honor. As a member of the United States Air Force, he displayed exemplary leadership, discipline, and bravery during 1968 through 1972. Throughout his time with the city of Turlock, Reagan's commitment to public service has been evident in every role he's held. His thoughtful approach to leadership and problem solving has helped guide the city's efforts in improving the lives of the people who call Turlock home. Reagan's influence extends beyond the policies and decisions he's made. He has been a colleague, a friend to many, offering support, guidance, and a steady presence throughout his career. His dedication to public service has been not only professional, but deeply personal. After many years of hard work and dedication, Reagan has decided to retire, leaving us behind, no, that doesn't say that, I'm sorry, leaving behind a legacy of integrity, service, and commitment to the community that will be remembered for years to come. So now, therefore, I, Amy Bublak, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Turlock, and on behalf of the entire city council and the residents we serve, do hereby commend City Manager Reagan Wilson for his valuable service and express our sincere thanks on behalf of the city of Turlock. So in form, he doesn't want to speak, but we're going to get a picture with council real quick here, please.
Everyone was right here. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much.
Okay. Now is public participation. It's time set aside for members of the public to directly address the city council. And on any item of interest to the public that is within our subject matter, you will have 3 minutes. There's an indicator on that side wall and here. And at 3 minutes, I'll ask you to succinctly finish the sentence. I do have a few cards here, so I'll start with Howard Carmen.
Morning, Mayor and community of all the members that are here today. We appreciate you being here tonight as well. I just here to, one of them is for the We Care program. It's on the agenda, is one of them. I'd like to see that.
We'll let you talk about that when it gets to that
Yeah.
item. Thank you.
And then the other one is the restroom. We have a restroom which is in the hallway, and it's been down for about 2 months. And we've
Who
been
is we,
told
sir?
through the WE program.
Okay, okay.
And we've been told that contractors are going to be coming out to repair it. It has not been repaired. It is the only ADA bathroom that a person can get through there. The regular ones are shower and stuff, so it's pretty difficult. However, Corey is here tonight, and I'm here to support them as well. She's been working very hard and trying to find a contractor to get that done. So let's hope that happens.
Let's do that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. All right, Harpreet. Harpreet Singh. There you are.
Yeah, there's a few things, two things I could address. Cause I live on Joette, so between Tully and Folkworth. So there's people that speed down my street, and there's kids that live down there. Cause I would love to see, as a city council or even law enforcement, come down there, patrol, or even have you guys as a city council to how would I say it, like approach it, maybe have some speed bumps down there because there's a bunch of kids that live down there. And another thing is, Miss Mayor, I've been going around the farmer's market for 2.5, 3 years. Not once have I ever seen you come down to the farmer's market and talk to the people. So that'd be nice if you or any of the city council would come down to the farmer's market on Saturdays and talk to people.
Okay.
That'd be nice because you can get to know talk to the city as well. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Milt. I was just there 2 weeks ago.
Good evening, council staff, ladies and gentlemen. Milt Treeweiler. As a resident of Turlock, we have the responsibility to see that our elected officials are making good decisions. City government is the government that's closest to the people and accountable to us as Turlock citizens. One of the primary purposes of local government is to see that our children and descendants have a good future. We must be good stewards and conservationists for our children and descendants, since they cannot do that for themselves. They can't do it for themselves because they're too young or haven't been born yet. Since the greatest challenges in the city of Turlock are the elected officials that are not always open-minded, they're sometimes serving their own selfish interests, needs, and beliefs, and are not doing what's best for the residents of Turlock. Since our elected officials are not always making good decisions, it means that we must all make an effort to be knowledgeable about what's going on in our city government. What this means is that it is us, the citizens of Turlock, that need to attend these council meetings, and it's great to see all of you here tonight. This way you will have the knowledge of the many issues and challenges that come before the council. I'm not asking you to attend every single meeting, but you should make a point of attending at least 5 or 10 meetings per year. Here's a quote from the past U.S. Supreme Court Justice Robert H. Jackson. "It's not the function of our government to keep the citizens from falling into error. It's the function of the citizens to keep the government from falling into error." California law states that the legislative body of a local agency shall not prohibit public criticism of the policies, procedures, programs, or services of the agency, or the acts or omissions of a legislative body. Nothing in this subdivision shall confer any privilege or protection for expression beyond the otherwise provided by law. For the sake of our city's future, it would be a good idea for the teachers and instructors of the elementary schools, high schools, and universities to have their citizens attend council meetings on occasions. One of our greatest freedoms is our freedom of speech. Amendment 1 of the Constitution. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for the redress of grievances. This is what separates the United States from Russia, China, North Korea, and other dictatorships and other totalitarian governments. It's so important that It's so important that the citizens, the people, us, come to these meetings. That's what makes a meeting. It's not the people up there. They're doing their job, or they're doing their taking care of their responsibility. It's us who have to watch out and make sure everything is going well. Thank you, and come again more often. Thank you.
All right, I have no other cards. Is there anyone else who want to speak in public comment? Not about We Care. We Care will come up later. Okay, just put it out. I don't know what you want to talk about. Yes, sir. Come on.
Mayor, council, staff, long-time listener, first-time caller. I have 4 questions. I'll try and get through them. My first question is, if I could get an answer onto the status and the results of the money given to DJ Franson for what was, I guess, the business development, and the accounting of the funds left on that. What are the results? What's the success on that? Secondly, the brainwave treatment that you authorized, how many of our first responders have taken advantage of that? And what are the funds left on that? And then my third question would be, and fourth of Chief Hedden, I'm curious as to the number of incidents reports from the care facility on Colorado since it's opened, and what the disposition of any if any are on that. And then secondly, or fourth, if and when We Care closes, what is Chief Hedden plans for the 40 to 50 men that are going to be on the streets every night? So that's it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Come on.
Rob Puffer. First, Mr. Wilson, I often disagreed with you on many subjects here, but I just want to say I think you came in at a very tough time for the city and gave it positive direction, and for that I want to thank you very much. Second, I don't know if anybody's paid attention to the stock market since January 20th, but it has lost significant value. And that is somewhat going to directly or indirectly affect PERS. And sooner or later, PERS is going to make a margin call to the cities in California. And I'd like to know what plans or things that the city of Turlock has already started thinking about when that margin call happens. And third, the last council meeting, there was an item up on the agenda and they had public participation. And then afterwards, a member of the council threw a curveball, I don't know what you're saying, something that I thought should have been brought up before public participation, because that could very directly affect what the participants and the public may say or ask for. I don't think that's very transparent for a council that's saying they want to try and work on transparency, and I hope that kind of stuff does not happen again. If you have disagreements on something, bring it out before the public participation. Thank you.
Anyone else? John?
Council, I wish you all a great, glorious Easter. And I hope you all have a safe one, visit with families and friends and have a faith and everything like that. But I do want to invite you, if you have any children, the church I go to, Crossroads, in their park, is going to have on this Saturday, 9:30 a.m., anybody's welcome, all the kids. You don't have to be a member of the church or anything else like that, but starting at 9:30, the Easter egg hunt and all that kind of fun stuff, giving away candy and all that and whatever. So if you know any groups or anybody that is not going to be able to do that, it's a perfect time to do it. And I have just one suggestion. on blitzes. Now, what I think they should do, what they used to do, and I realize it's manpower, woman power, everything else, it's on speeding and running red lights. And there's nobody I have talked to in this town that it hasn't affected. It's just people running lights and everything else. And I think a blitz, where you get, concentrated areas of officers giving out tickets, because I think that's and I realize it all has to do with what you have and resources and everything, but I think that's the best thing. I know they used to do it around schools and everything, speeding past schools and whatever, and, just concentrate as much as you can. It doesn't have to be all the time, but at least do it, and I think that would have a thing. And finally, Reagan, good luck. You and Sherry. Good luck.
Yes.
This is just a small matter, but I couldn't get any response from anyone in the city. There's a crosswalk at El Capitan and Johnson, and we've been told that they're going to be taking that crosswalk away. That crosswalk gets a great deal of traffic, both from Julene when it lets out, as well as Turlock High. So no one from engineering ever called me back. I don't know why we're taking that crosswalk away, but my fear is that without that crosswalk, it's already a street that has speeding issues. But it would also just be nice if someone could call me back and let me know what the protocol is or why those decisions are being made, because it is very unsafe, not only for the Julene students, but also for the Turlock High students, and I'm not quite sure that TUSD is aware of that change. Thank you.
Anyone else for public participation? Change your mind? No, this gentleman.
My name is Steve McMillan. I'm here to address, I walked in here 4 months ago, made a lot of money in my life. I'm well known in this whole town. And a lot of my money was taken away. I walked into the WE program. And I watched what's happened at the WE program. I watched the disrespect, everything about the WE program. The guys that roll out of there in the morning, go across the street, smoke their weed, do their stuff. The WE program is for one thing, to get you back on your feet again. And I don't care who likes it or not. Corey's here tonight, and I don't really care. I'm here to tell you who I am. Everyone knows me in this town. I build differentials. I'm very well known. And I don't like what's happened at that place. It's not healthy. There's nothing about it. You got a bunch of drunks, a bunch of idiots up there, and I don't care who likes it or not. That's why I'm here tonight. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we're going to close public comment. Just for the record, I will tell you that if you've asked questions, it will be staff. We'll have to put something together. We won't be able to respond just off the cuff on anything. Although I will say that 2 weeks ago I was at farmer's market. But anyhow, we will move on to consent calendar.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please? Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Hold on. One item was going to be pulled. Milt asked item F, Frank, to be pulled. My apologies.
Move to approve is amended, minus F.
Second.
Okay. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Abram? Yes. Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, passes all, 5-0. Item F is a contract with St. Francis Electric for traffic signal preventative maintenance and repairs all over the city. And Director Fisher. Don't look like Huff. Wait, hang on one second. We're having a hard time hearing here. Okay, proceed.
That was
Thank
like
you.
a magic touch.
I know.
Like, that's, wow.
Yeah, that's what I do. Thanks, George. Tonight, the amendment you have before you is number 2 to the city contract 2023-57 with St. Francis. They're for traffic signal and preventive maintenance and repairs services. and to maintain a total not to exceed number of $1,250,000 over the term of the agreement, but eliminate the annual not to exceed amount of $500,000. So the difference tonight is we're asking the annual not to exceed number to be removed, but the contract, total remain the same. This amendment seeks to, or this city maintains over 100 traffic signals. There are flashing beacons and all those other things of pedestrian crosswalks and related infrastructure. Due to our limited in-house resources staff, these services are contracted out. The contract with St. Francis Electric was initially approved on May 9th of 2023 for an annual amount of $250,000 with a total not to exceed of $750,000 over the contract term through May 9th of 2026. On June 11th of 2024, we brought it back for amendment number 1. It's increased the annual limit to $500,000 and the total compensation to $1,250,000. There's been some unforeseen repairs due to some vehicular damages and replacement of backup batteries in several intersections. They've just spent a lot of money fixing a lot of things. And, like I was telling you before, sometimes you don't see the things. They're not blaring in your face, but they certainly make it more convenient. So what we're asking is you just remove that and gives us the authority to spend the money that we need to spend to make sure that our traffic signals are maintained in a way that we expect them to be.
Questions for Director?
Are these folks making sure that the sensors and those kinds of things are working too?
Yeah, they are. We've replaced 6 what they call signal detection loops. Those things fail fairly commonly. They're quite invasive. They have to go in and cut and replace all the loops. And so they'll ohm them out on a regular PM interval. They'll find out if they're working or they're not working, and then they'll repair them or replace them.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll open it to the public. Anyone wishing to speak on this? Milt?
Yes, the reason I pulled this, I wanted clarification. You said that, and you did just state that it's not going to increase the $1,250,000, and it's not going to increase the term, but how are you going to accomplish that if you're spending more money than the $500,000 per period? You're just going to stop if you're not going to exceed the $1,250,000, number one. You won't exceed that. The term will remain the same, but what happens if you use up all of that money within the term? Are you going to bring it back to the council to have it reassessed or request more money? So that's my question there. I do have another question. How do we go about contacting, or which department do we contact when we want to report a signal or traffic light that's not working correctly?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the answer is...
Hang on, we'll get the rest of these guys here. And then. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item?
Again, my name's Howard Carmen. For many years, I lived in another county, and I've seen it come and go. And I was really upset about the fact that we have to contract people out from another city to be able to have the funding to be sent to Modesto and Turlock or whatever it takes to take care of this. I've seen it grow tremendously, and I've seen the differences, and I've seen the money both ways. And I really would appreciate it if they could really do the figures and find out what's going on, because that's what needs to happen. It needs to stay in our city and the other ones that need it. Thank you.
Anyone else on this topic? Okay, we will close public comment if you would respond to those 2 questions.
Okay, the best way to get a hold of us or for reported traffic signals on our app. That goes directly to our municipal services email, and then we can create a work order from there. And it usually takes about, depending if it's an emergency, you can call the police non-emergency, and they'll also dispatch us. But if it's just reporting a light or one of the heads that's out or something that's not a safety incident, you can report it on the app. And as far as when increasing the spending authority, it just allows us to spend the total amount. If we do run out of money before then, we would be back at the council for more money to do the repairs.
Okay, thank you.
Move to approve item F. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Abram? Yes. Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, it passes 5-0. Thank you, Director. All right, final readings, there are none. Public hearings, there are none. And 11A, action item, is continuance from regular scheduled meeting on 3/25. Ms. Borrego will just update us and see what we can do.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens, and my colleagues. as a reminder, the staff had recommended issuing a letter of support for We Care for funding that the state directed to the county directed to We Care to fund the operational expenses of the 49 beds that exist, not a expansion of a footprint. And they had asked for a letter of support from the city and a commitment of $1. And so that's the item that we're bringing back tonight.
Okay. So the update we'll get directly from We Care then, is that?
Yes.
Corey, would you like to go ahead and come up?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak once again. Last week, I told someone that I never win when I stand in front of you guys, but the truth is that this isn't my fight. This isn't my fight. It's not about me. This is about the individuals that we serve, the staff at the shelter, and the volunteers who give their hearts every day to the community that we care about. Tonight, you will be making a decision that could result in 49 more men, individuals with nowhere to shower, use the bathroom, or receive a warm meal. These men won't disappear. These men will continue to be a part of our community, only now more vulnerable and more visible. We Care operates for 14 hours each day, and removing our services will leave you responsible for 24 hours of the day. If these needs are not met, the burden falls 100% on our city, on public safety, and on sanitation. I recognize that change is needed, and we are making plans to do so. We are actively working towards sustainable solutions. I cannot, in good faith, stand here before you and offer a 24-hour restroom without the resources to support that. What I can promise you is partnership. I have heard your concerns, and I am committed to exploring collaborative, actionable solutions. I love the idea of a street cleanup team, and I would be proud to be a part of that effort. But I must emphasize that We Care is not the only organization serving the unhoused in Turlock, and yet we are being asked to carry that burden of responsibility alone. It feels extremely unfair. At the last meeting, it was said multiple times that you all support We Care, that this wasn't about We Care. Our only request is that you support us and that you show that you recognize the value that we bring to our community. Thank you for your time.
So real quick, Corey. There was a conversation that you had, whether with Mr. Wilson or Ms. Borrego. Can you kind of share what your board decided? I know that there was a request for using the funds to pay for.
So I wasn't told that it was to use the PLHA funds for the bathroom. We've already said what we would use the funds for, which is our operation costs. We are more than willing to explore a restroom situation. I'm more than willing to help figure out a solution. I just can't promise you that without the PLHA funds, and that's what I'm being asked to do. I can't do that.
Do you have your board here?
I do have our board here.
Okay, so they collectively can make a decision if necessary?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, does anybody else from We Care want to speak first? Are you on the board?
I was for 20 years.
Sure, come on up.
I've run a homeless resource center for 5 years. Most of you are not aware of that. I've also been talking to this council for 20 plus years. Most of you are not aware of that. This is ridiculous. It is an abomination of leadership that this has gone on for as long as it has. I am ashamed of what I see here. How dare you decide whether 45 people get shelter or not? We have gone over and over and over this for 20 plus years. For 20 years, we have discussed this. The progress? Nothing. You didn't want a bathroom 5 years ago. That was a terrible thing, and it couldn't be asked for. In fact, you were said that that was something that we should not have. Please understand my frustration comes for lack of leadership. I don't know how y'all sleep at night.
Is there anyone else that, from We Care, who wants to speak first? We'll let them go first and then bring on the rest, or if We Care is not interested in speaking. All right, I'll open it to the public, sir, go ahead. Come on up. We Care doesn't want to speak.
I'm upset, okay? But it's a happy thing. They're helping with housing. They're doing everything they can. And they're doing the best they can. I came here about 4 months ago, and I have succeeded in the things that have happened time after time, the beginnings and the understanding and all this and everything. And I'll tell you what, all these people at the We Care program is doing their job, and they're doing it well. And there's so much out there that can be done still with the We Care program. It's amazing at what they've done. In 4 months, I got a job working for Caltrans. They ask for housing, everything that's happening. And I just wish that funds would be available for us. I really do, because I think it's going to be more assessed, it's going to grow. And as far as, you talked a little bit about the street team. Long story short, I was in another county, which is Modesto. I think it would be a good thing that it be introduced, and also for the community and for us, to be able to have a street team here in Turlock itself and originate. And you could probably coordinate that with Modesto, and it'd be very simple and organized. And I think that we would get more papers picked up here and things done and everything, and more communication for not just for the community, but everybody else. And I think everybody would really enjoy that. Thank you.
Mr. Treeweather, can you, I take it outside if you're going to talk, please. I'm trying to hear him when he's speaking. Thank you, sir. Is there another person that wishes to speak? Yes, come on up.
Mayor, council members, I'm on the board at We Care, and I'm new to the board, so I don't have the history that everybody has, but it has been around for over 20 years servicing this community. And when you talk about the funds, these aren't the first, from what I understand, the first PLHA funds that have been available. We came before this council after a trial period to look at a navigation center, which would have gone a long ways to solving the 24-hour problem that this city has with a good majority of the homeless. That was rejected. Certainly there was a 24-hour bathroom opportunity for a lot of people with that. Now, we're coming back, we've gone to the county and solicited these funds on our own because we have to survive. Without these funds, like they said, We Care will close, these 49 people will be out on the streets. And they'll be out there at night for their safety and the safety, and you know that that's when a lot of the problems occur. So for the security of those 49 men and for the city, it's beneficial to the city. I think for $267,000, it's not going to go to the city, it's going to go elsewhere. We lose that. You lose that. So to me, it's a no-brainer. I can't understand why you wouldn't give us the support. Thank you.
Bill?
Dear Mr. Wilson, I love you. You're a wonderful person, and I'm going to miss you very much. This is a letter that Reagan Wilson wrote in support of giving the $1 to the Turlock We Care Center. It was dated March 25th, 2025, We Care Program, 219 South Broadway, Turlock, California. Dear We Care Program, reason, letter of support and financial contributions for the PLHA application. On behalf of the City of Turlock, I'm pleased to provide this letter of support for your application to the Permanent Housing Local Allocation Program, specifically for the funding of the We Care program. The city recognizes a critical need for emergency housing and supportive services within our community, and we fully support your efforts in providing shelter and resources for individuals and families experiencing homelessness. As required by the PLHA program guidance, the City of Turlock acknowledges that our city is eligible to receive an independent PLHA allocation from the state and understands the requirement of a financial contribution to ensure that your shelter facility may apply for this PLHA fund through Stanislaus County. In the line with this requirement, the City of Turlock has committed to a financial contribution of $1 towards your PLHA funding application. This contribution will assist in meeting the financial and need and finance necessary for the financial operations and expansion, ensuring the continued provision of services to the most vulnerable members of our community. If you need any additional documentation or have any other questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. And Mr. Reagan has provided his phone number and his email address. Thank you for your ongoing work and dedication in addressing homelessness in our community. We look forward to seeing the positive impact of your shelter facility will continue to have with support of the PLHA Fund. Sincerely, Reagan M. Wilson, City Manager, City of Turlock. Mr. Wilson, thank you. You have tried so hard to do things for the homelessness in Turlock, homeless people in Turlock. You had all kinds of recommendations that you gave to these people here on this council, and they've turned you down every time. It's distressful how unfeeling, how, I don't know what to say, hateful these people are. They have no, I like the expression on your face, Mayor. It looks really funny. But anyway, this is a serious matter, and this is $1. It has no, there's anyone with any kind of sense would approve this. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening. So I promise I won't yell.
You got a strong voice anyway.
Okay. So I just don't understand what the problem is here, right? If We Care has been operating for 20 years, that means that for 20 years they've kept 50 to 60 men off the streets of Turlock at night. And that is a big deal. Right now, as I was parking, you have 4 cars in the back of buildings where people are living, right? This doesn't make sense. If you're going to be representing this city, then represent it well. I don't care what side of the aisle you sit on, but you're supposed to take care of the city. So when the summer hits and people come in from out of town, your friends, your family, walk around downtown at night, and there's homeless people living in the streets. What are you going to tell them? Because this doesn't make sense. Doesn't come out of the city's budget. It makes no sense. So I don't see how you can vote this down, how you can't be in support of, because it doesn't make sense. If we can keep 40 to 60 men off the streets, that makes our city that much safer. If we can get them moving in the right direction, that makes our city much safer, even generates revenue. So I don't understand why this is a big deal. So hopefully you'll vote the right way. Hopefully you'll give your support so that the county can help this city for change. Right? Thank you.
Young lady in the back. Yeah, go ahead. And then the red sweater next.
I have notes to stay on task. Good evening. My name is Mary Borba. I'm a retired teacher and a lifelong resident of Turlock. And a few weeks ago, when we were volunteering at the We Care shelter, we heard, actually on TV was this meeting, and the men were watching on TV what was going on. And at that, and then we learned there'd be another follow-up meeting, and so my husband and I wanted to be here. I know this homelessness is complicated. I'm not an expert on the topic. For 10 years, we've been volunteering at the center, at the We Care shelter rather, and we started because we felt the calling. We studied the Bible, and Jesus has said repeatedly we are to feed the hungry and shelter the homeless, and that's why we're there. And we spend one day a month cooking all day, making a home-cooked meal as if it was for our own family. And we go and we serve with family members and friends. And many of them don't even live in Turlock, but they come. So and this is personal because all of us, whether we want to admit it or not, have a family member or a friend who is maybe this close to homelessness for whatever reason, addictions or financial reasons or health issues, whatever. And I had an uncle, and the stress that brought to our family in trying to help him. And at that time, there were no resources. It was here in Turlock. His resource was the mental hospital in Modesto at that time, because eventually his alcoholism, he lost his family, he lost his thriving business. His alcoholism led to major mental health problems. So it's personal. There's 49 men at that shelter, and it's been full, I understand, for the last few months. Like my uncle, many of them have had addiction problems, have had health problems, have had financial problems, have had mental health problems, and can't hold a job. And that's always the excuse I hear why we shouldn't support them. Well, they just need to go out and get a job. And having lived through this through my uncle, many of them can't. They just can't support themselves. They can't manage it. Their brain, their body just can't do it. Now, if we put those 49 people, as the last speaker said, back on the street, that's going to be a much greater burden for our city. And I empathize for our property owners and our business people downtown. Of course, we want a safe and clean environment down there. But if we put 49 back on the street, that's going to be worse. It's complicated. Each of these men have a history, and they're not just a group. They're people. We have to support them and support the work of the We Care Shelter.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, staff, and citizens. My name is Brett Foray, and I am...
Sorry.
That's okay.
There we go.
And I am a board member on We Care. I'm not going to reiterate what many of these other people have said very eloquently already. I just want to add to the conversation that obviously, I'm sure you all are aware that homelessness is a very complex socioeconomic issue. And We Care is just a Band-Aid to a very complex problem. And we're doing our best with the funds that we have, with the resources that we have to help these unhoused men to not only find shelter at night, but also hopefully we will help those who can get jobs to get jobs, and hopefully help them with housing, which is, as you all must know, is very difficult to do in this city as it is. So I just want to reiterate that I just hope you'll keep in mind that we are trying to do the very best that we can with the resources that we have, and denying us this money will just make that a lot harder. And as Ms. Borba said, it'll impact a lot of city agencies to make their work a lot harder. So I know it's been a complex issue, it's a divisive issue in the city, but these men, if We Care doesn't exist, these men don't, to the best of my knowledge, the other homeless shelters in our region, in Modesto, Merced, they're already full. They can't absorb the people that we have here in Turlock. So please, I hope you'll consider the important support that we're asking. It's only $1, for goodness sake. So thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Red sweater.
Yeah, red sweater.
That's her turn.
She's coming.
I gotta get this down to for short shrimp. Okay, my name is Myrna Wax. I've been here many times in the past. I haven't been here for a while. I've had some health issues, lots of health issues. Anyway, I still, even with my health issues, manage to participate once a month in either purchasing or cooking something for the men at We Care. I recall, I was just lying in bed last night recalling how many times you guys have voted against doing anything for these guys, ever. We had a possibility with millions of dollars that were going to come our way for them to have an actual village of, they were going to make shelters out of those storage containers. It was going to come with counseling. It was going to come with security. It was going to come perfectly finished, ready for them to move in. Nope, we just passed on that $2.3 million. I can't remember the numbers exactly, but it seems to me, since I've been living here for almost 26 years, the homeless, the unhoused in this town have been screwed every single year. I think it's time for you to stop. I think it's time for you to get it together and just give them a break. And it's more than 48 men, because we feed probably 60 or more just dinners. They don't sleep there because there's only 48 beds. There should be 148 beds. Try really, really hard to think this through and get it right this time. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Madam Mayor, City Council members, my name is Antonio Borba. My wife spoke earlier, and I guess I'm going to make some of the same points, but there are a couple of things that I would want to emphasize. Now, we've been members of the community for many years. I've been in the community for 55 years. Mary was born and raised in Turlock, and we are here tonight to show our support for We Care. As Mary said, we've been serving dinner once a month for the past 10 years. And Mary doesn't do anything lightly. I remember one day she was preparing dinner and I was getting a little frustrated and I said, well, we don't have to do all that stuff. And she said, if we were serving Jesus, we wouldn't cut any corners. And that's how she approaches it. If you were to ask us why we volunteer at the shelter, and I'm sure that I know we have some friends here, their answer would be the same. Matthew chapter 25, verse 35. I was hungry, and you gave me to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. Now, I've heard people say, well, they might be lazy, or they may have a family member. I don't recall seeing that in the Bible saying, before you give them something to eat, make sure they don't have anybody else. We realize that you are dealing with difficult issues. On one hand, you have the needs of the homeless population. On the other hand, the needs of the business community. We don't pretend to understand all the issues facing you. One thing we believe is if you close the shelter and place 45 more men on the street, as it has been said, without dinner and without a place to sleep, it would seem to us that you would encounter many more problems. I believe the police officers, they're very busy, and I don't think they need any more problems. Several times a week, we drive down A Street by the City Hall. We see several men sitting on the sidewalk. We don't understand why there's a beautiful, spacious building just down the street, the Good Samaritan building, that is not being used to keep these men off the streets. When it was open, we were called several times to help, to provide supplies, and we always did, and it always seemed to be well organized. We enjoy serving. We find the men always respectful, always thankful. We appreciate your taking our comments into consideration. Thank you.
Kathy do, and then you, Pastor. Yeah.
Thank you, City Council. Thank you, City Council. And City Manager Wilson, good luck in your retirement. We'll miss you, and thank you for stepping up. I am deeply concerned that the only reason that you gave at the last meeting was that you didn't hear from county staff how they were supposed to spend the money that was being donated per the grant. Couldn't that have been resolved with a simple phone call? Couldn't that have been resolved with just a meeting with county staff? I see Vito Chiesa in the back of the room. He should be up here saying exactly how, answering your questions, so that there is no question why you would refuse to sign, to write the letter, to agree to a $1 contribution, and help the homeless. I've been involved with the We Care program for well over 10 years now. I've been involved with the Turlock Gospel Mission for about the same time. We do a better job than most other cities. I think we have a tremendous outpouring of concern and showing what we can do with what limited funds we have. So to strap this burden on the We Care shelter that they should have a available porta potty, and you have to walk all the way down there to the We Care shelter to use the bathroom, that's kind of crazy to me. There are other ways to provide restroom facilities that are accessible to the homeless people and for use with the public. If you take a look at any one of a number of other cities, public restroom facilities are available for use, and they're kept clean by the cities, and they are a contribution to the public safety and welfare of people who need public services. So I completely agree that we should support the homeless. I completely agree that you should write this letter and commit to donating $1. Talk to the county. It should be something that is a no-brainer, that they're going to say, well, the money will be spent this way and this way and this way. And quite frankly, a board member from the We Care already told you it was going to be used for operational purposes. To strap them with having a public toilet is, quite frankly, a waste of money, the way I see it, when there's many other ways to resolve this problem. Thank you very much.
Ron, or is that Pastor? Yes. My apologies. Getting ahead of myself.
My name is Jeff Woods. I was the founding executive director of Turlock Gospel Mission. And I've recognized, I worked for 5.5 years every single day and every single night of the year with our homeless friends. Over that time, I discovered that the major difference between those who are unhoused and the rest of us is one thing. It's a door. I know people who use drugs. I know people who pull down pornography. I know people who abuse their children behind closed doors. So it's never seen out in the public. But for somebody who is unhoused to try to find a place to go to the bathroom, to find a place of privacy if your child's misbehaving, we usually, if you're in the store, you see somebody going, just wait till we get home, or in the car. I am grateful for every member of our community. And I don't pity anybody, but I have a great deal of compassion, and I know you do too. I also realize from having walked and worked with this for 5.5 years, and I live downtown, so my street is the major alley for a lot of people going back and forth. I live on Crane. I still have contact with a lot of people, and I have to say, there was a time when I was director of Turlock Gospel Mission when I wanted to stand up for We Care, and I was told I could not. But I want to say that I am really grateful for the men and the women and the volunteers of We Care. And I am not impugning anybody's motives. I know that you care. But I have watched and walked alongside We Care. When we started Turlock Gospel Mission, it was not to compete. We're not fighting over the homeless. There are some people who will go to Turlock Gospel Mission who will not come to We Care, and vice versa. My hope, knowing that there are not easy solutions, is that we can work together, that we can support one another, and for those who are willing to give of themselves, their times, and their resources, that we would partner with them. Thank you.
Ron, go ahead.
Okay, I like what he said in terms of working together and supporting each other. Calling people unfeeling and so on and so forth does not help in that arena. I find it disturbing that whenever we had meetings like the reducing homelessness in Turlock that we had 2 years ago, we had 2 of those meetings. We didn't have people from the service providers there to listen to what the community had to say, what their concerns were. Let me just say some other things quickly. The people who volunteer and work at We Care, this is something wonderful that they do. There's no question about that. Okay? I've said before, in terms of some of the results that they get, I believe there's 3 men that they've been able to get housing for in the past 6-7 months since August of last year. 3 who were at We Care, 2 who were at the Gospel Mission. That's
Can you hang on
good.
just a second, please? I'm sorry. Milt, please. If you want to have a conversation, I have no problem. Just step outside so we can hear him. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all good. That's great. But one of the things that we'd like to see in the public is more transparency and accountability in terms of what happened after they were housed. Were they able, I've asked these questions also about, all the money that we've spent on buying properties and rehabilitating them, so on and so forth. What is the final result? Have the people that we've put there, have they gotten the services that they have needed? Have they been able to better their lives? Okay? That's one of the things that the people are asking. Okay, 49% of the people we've been told before at We Care, staying at We Care, are from Turlock. I keep on hearing this threat about what's going to happen if quote unquote we close it down, and no one's asking to close it down. Okay, that's the same threat that we heard with the day center. Oh, you close down the day center, you're going to have all these people wandering around downtown. Well, that didn't happen. Okay, there's wisdom in the terms of if you build it, they will come, and We Care. Is a much better facility than the other homeless shelters, which are more military dorm styles versus a hotel type of environment. I also wish that the same concern was given to the people with Alzheimer's and dementia in the city. We have 4 times as many people who are suffering for no reason of anything that they did, and no one seems to give a you-know-what about them.
Thank you, Ron. Sir? Supervisor, you're after him. Sorry.
We've heard very eloquent remarks this evening from people who are on the front lines, from people who have personal experiences with family. I support all of their comments. As I said last meeting, I have a nephew that is in and out and in and out and in and out. And it's very difficult with mental illness to be able to reach them, even as family members. And sometimes you need an alternative, because sometimes family members are the last people they want to listen to. But I want to take a sort of a management approach to this. Last meeting, I was concerned about, to be diplomatic, sort of the confrontational approach that was being taken by the council in terms of, yeah, we care is fine, but we want this. Well, as I think it was Councilman Bixson said, well, or Abrams, we talked about this before. There were funds, and we chose not to apply for them. Okay. From a management perspective, I hear people who recognize what the problem is, and I think from the council's perspective, it's not only the we care approach, but also the bathroom. I think everybody agrees that's an issue. That's a problem. But why put them on the spot at the last minute to solve that when it didn't appear in their grant or in their budget? I think a smart management approach would be a more collaborative approach with the community, with the we care, and with businesses in terms of, here's the problem, how can we solve it, how can we do this together, and not make it a confrontative do or die, or you're not going to get our support. Thank you.
Okay, Vito? Since you're part of the applicants, technically I'll give you longer, huh?
Yeah, thank you very much. Hello, Mayor, City Council. Congratulations, Regan, on your retirement. You're still very much revered around the county, and all you did for the county and on behalf of Turlock. Thank you very much. Appreciate your service. So I figured I would just try and hit a couple of subjects and talk about 2 weeks ago, I was with the county on a DC trip. That's why I wasn't here, just so that the public understands. We were back begging for money and were very unsuccessful. But I did have an opportunity to watch, and I think Dr. Borrego, you did a good job of kind of laying everything out. I'm going to try and add some context to that, just for everyone's edification. So the PLHA funding, it's one of those things, the City of Modesto gets an allocation, City of Turlock, Riverbank, and then the consortium, which is much like the home consortium, the rest of the cities in the county get an allocation. And the same thing with emergency solutions grants, CDBG, community development block grants. Those are all monies that cities get a little portion, the county gets some through our planning department. With me today, I also have our planning director, Angela Freitas, and Anna San Nicolas, who's the deputy director of planning for Stanislaus County, who oversees this specific program. And so we get these fundings, and that's what comes through our community. I mean, the planning department. And then we get housing allocations or homeless allocations, HAP money. Some of it goes through our community service agency. Some of it goes to the CSOC, Community Systems of Care, of which Maren Pitt is the chairperson, former employee here. And so there's all these different funding sources. And what I heard 2 weeks ago, that there was some frustration on the council that some of these fundings could have been used or would have been used for cleanup, some of these other ancillary items, again, nothing to do with We Care specifically. So we had a meeting, it was very nice. The mayor and the city manager, along with Jody Hayes, our CEO, and my staff, we met Wednesday, I believe. I think it sounds right. And kind of talked through some of these issues, where we might find funding. And most of the funding comes with strings attached. I don't need to tell you, just about everything we do has a string attached to it. But what came out of the meeting is the commitment, again, from the county, that we sit and look for funding that might fit some of these specific areas. And I would, and you guys can characterize it afterwards on how you thought, but I thought it went pretty well just in the discussions. When Turlock has a need and they ask, the county's going to come alongside as best we can to try and find funding that might be pliable, that might have some edges. I just want to apologize to We Care, because in that meeting, I had asked before I went in there about how much, from our staff, how much pliability we have in this funding, specifically the 267,000. And so we have a little bit of pliability. And I was talking, it was actually me who brought it up. So just so you know, it was Vito who brought up about potentially putting bathrooms, because the money could be used, again, for the impact of that, not to put bathrooms over in a park on the east side of town or the north side, but right there. So that was us trying to, from the county perspective, trying to come up with ideas that would make this work, because again, this funding, there were 12 eligible folks or organizations that could apply for this funding. 4 were chosen based on the criteria. Obviously, We Care was one, Havens Women's Center, there's a Youth Navigation Center through Center for Human Services, and then the ACES Shelter, which is the low barrier shelter in Modesto. Those were the 4 that were chosen to be funding, and based on criteria. So, you know, it was my hope that the funding went to those organizations, to say the least. I think that's the way it was. But getting through this issue, trying to figure out what the hangups were, I thought we had a good conversation. I've had a couple of subsequent conversations with Dr. Borrego, just trying to figure out, you know, where we need to be. So I'm here before you. Again, I apologize for not being here a couple of weeks ago because I was out of town, and I can try and answer questions if I can't, staff can, but hopefully this is something we can move forward.
Thank you.
Yep.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can.
So, your fiscal year is the beginning of,
June 30, July 1.
okay, so there's potential additional funding in less than 2 months?
Emergency solution grants and community development block grants are available, yeah, at that point.
So if there were money to be offset by putting some porta potties out, they would probably be whole in a couple months potentially?
Well, assuming that they're awarded the money, yes, they've been successful. And I think I had shared out something about Turlock, and it has nothing to do with HAP funding, which is a different funding source, but in the Emergency Solutions Grant and the CDBG, Turlock has competed really well. We Care has done really well. I would expect that, but that's no, you know, past success is no guarantee of future success. But yes, that would be likely.
Other questions for? Thank you, Supervisor.
I have some questions. So I'm actually going to speak up for the local business owners that I have spoken to. I'm a business owner myself. Just in the past couple of years that I've had my location just a block over, I've been dealing with a lot of issues on my property, vandalism, stealing, a lot of the same stories I'm getting from other business owners as well. We have to clean up after them. I have to pull off employees, you know, out of my store to go clean up, and you know, it just puts us behind as far as our businesses goes. Just recently, I had another business owner come into my store, bringing up the homeless issue. The back of his store is trashed. He's tired of cleaning it up. He actually opened up his dumpster for the homeless and let them know, hey, you know what, you guys can stay back here, but please pick up after yourself. They don't. So a lot of the stories that I'm getting from these business owners, including myself, we're tired. We're not getting any response back, any help ourselves. I mean, we put our lives into our businesses. You know, every penny that we have, or at least for myself, you know, I put everything I have into my business to run it as you know, as well as I can. But I still have to step out and do other, you know, jobs as far as cleaning up my property and so on and so forth. Why aren't the business owners, you know, why are we not getting any kind of help, you know, as far as that goes? I just feel that we're just kind of left in the back burner, you know, just to kind of just pick up after the homeless, and I don't think it's fair, and I don't see any changes. You know, just in the past 2 months, I have probably like 6 or 7 incidents happen on my property, and you know, it's getting old, and I'm tired of it, you know, seeing it, and so it's just hard for me to, you know, support this.
So I can only address the component that the county with our $1.9 billion budget, only about $310 million of it is actual discretionary spending, which obviously takes care of unincorporated areas generally. Of the pass-through money, it's much like these emergency solution grants or CDBG, and we're there. The federal government gives money, or the state government gives us money, and it has obligations that have to be met, much like you have the same obligations when you give away your CDBG funds. And so to give money for cleanup, and I can specifically ask how the Modesto Streets team was funded years ago. It was it was a little more than a third of the money, but I'll say a third of the money came from the community foundation, which was actually private money. A third of the money came from the county, but it was workforce development. It was actually, and that money is probably still available. Just depends on what happens with this administration, how they view it. And then a third of the money came from the local jurisdiction, either Modesto or the county. It was offered to Turlock. At that point, Turlock had chosen not to, so that money went to Modesto. Modesto picked up a third year, the Downtown Streets team, but Miss Padilla at the time was doing a pretty good job, and she wasn't charging anything. So there was something available. I don't know that money's still available, because the private money from the community foundation, we'd have to go back and ask. I think the county's portion of workforce development in a program, and there has to be job training component to that to get the workforce money. So it's probably still available under the right scenario. And then we would ask for a contribution, because it doesn't make any sense for it to come out of the county's general fund. So for the rest of it.
Any other questions for the Supervisor? Thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right,
Thank you,
anyone
guys.
else? Barbara?
Okay, yikes, I'm not as tall as Vito. I'm really nervous about this, but I'm here today, and thank you for hearing public comments, and I want to thank you for that. I'm here today to express my concerns about funding the We Care homeless shelter. I'm grateful to hear from the businesses, because we hear from them often, but not here in the City Council. While I understand the need for compassion and support for our homeless, I have a member of my family who's homeless, so I understand. I strongly believe that funding the We Care is not the best solution for our community. I'm concerned that investing in We Care may not address the root cause of homelessness and may not provide the most effective or sustainable solution. As someone said, it's a Band-Aid. Furthermore, I'm troubled by the suggestion that if we don't fund this proposal, the homeless will be out on the streets and pose a danger to our community. That's extortion. I don't want to fund something because I feel threatened. I believe this approach is unfair and uses fear to influence our decision-making. I want to emphasize that my opposition to funding We Care is not driven by a lack of compassion for those in need. I worked at Phoenix House Tuamest. It was a 2-year drug and alcohol rehab facility, and that worked. If these guys want to put money into something, a facility like that is sustainable. Those people came out of that program and they had $5,000 in the bank. They had a car. If they didn't have an education when they went in, they did when they came out. And they also had a group home to move into. And some of those people that I helped in that program came out to be very successful community members in this community. So that's different. I want to thank you for your time, and I look forward to your consideration.
Anyone else? Yes.
Good evening, I'm Mary Jackson. For I think the last 20 or 25 years, we've been a roller coaster this council makes a decision, backpedals. We had $3 million for a permanent shelter back in the mid-90s, or actually 2000, sorry, not that far back. I aged myself. But it's just really frustrating that you're not looking at this as, it's not a Band-Aid, it's getting 49 men behind a door. That was a really good analogy. Okay, and if you have children like I do, when we're driving downtown or around and they see homeless people, they say, don't you care, aren't you compassionate? I've served for at least 18 years. I think the group I was serving with is probably in their 19th or 20th year of serving. And I don't know if anyone has spoken about this because I was trying to get here before you started and I didn't, but the people that serve there, you get more back than what you're giving. And it's true. We feed them as if they're our family. They know my children's names. We see them at the library. I have said this over and over again. And what's troubling to me is, if I was a business owner, and I'm sorry that people are doing that, but the people at We Care, I don't believe are the ones that are doing it. It's the ones that are outside not following the rules, in my opinion. And if there are other solutions, I think We Care would be willing to work with you and to try to solve that problem. If to do another streets team, to have a bathroom. But 6 months ago, you had a bathroom with a day center. And that's my frustration, is not when you close the day center, that is a bathroom that was for anyone and everyone. I used it when I went down there. And so I think 49 people housed, fed, is going to be a huge benefit for this community. Okay, and I disagree with the people who said when we closed the day center, there was just a man killed several weeks ago in the park right there in one of our prime locations downtown. There's lots of people. They're in parks. They're in schools. I'm a parent. There's lots of parents who are worried. And it's not that we're scared. It's just knowing that these people have a place to go every night. It's, from my opinion, it's security. And there are men there that are working. There are men that get up and go to work every day and come home. For some of these men, that meal is the only meal they get. And so I really behoove you to work with We Care and to be compassionate, because it's really important to this community. If you don't think homelessness and people that care about homeless in this community, it's probably one of the number one issues, I strongly disagree with you. Thank you.
City Council. My name is Leon Seegers. I've been in recovery for 40 years, and I came because Regan is retiring tonight, and I want to honor him. And his heart and mine are a lot the same. You know, we love people, and we try and do what we can to help. I've been in recovery for over 38 years, and I've helped a lot of people get to work and get a paycheck to get out of homelessness. But to just pull the rug out from under it is not going to help. So I love you, Regan. I'm glad you're here. That's kind of weird, but that's okay. I've always been weird. I've been bringing guys home to my house for the last 38 years, and my wife drew the line and said, "You can't bring no more of them boys to my house." But that's my wife, you know. But if I had a barracks, I would fill it up. So keep me in the mix. Help me to do my part.
Thank you. All right. Yes, sir.
Thank you, City Council. My name is Bobby Loveday. I currently work for La Familia. I am the service provider at We Care. I am the case manager. I'm the one that works with them every single day. I'm the one that provides the groups. We are doing the best we can with this population. This population is very difficult to work with. It's very complicated, and not one size fits everybody. So we understand the complexity of this, but what I wanted to say is we're all in this together. We're all in the same team, and it feels like we're fighting against each other, and we're trying to come to the same result, which is a better Turlock, better community. And I just think it's a tragedy if we can't come to a solution to help these guys. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close the public comment and bring it back for some dialogue here. I'll tell you, I'll start with, we did meet with the supervisor and the CEO of the county. It was a good conversation, but it's kind of a afterwards conversation. They want to be there for us to have further dialogue in regard to making decisions for the future with homeless. I do take offense to the fact that people say, well, you don't understand homeless. My whole family's a hot mess, and I don't need to talk about it. I already seen it. I spent my life dealing with homeless, working with homeless. So judging me is pretty wrong, because you're sitting there saying you guys shouldn't judge us. So it's kind of awkward. But nonetheless, as we sit here talking about this, saying, okay, you guys are going to close us down. Well, are we? If we say, here, help us, you have 8 hours that you're housing them, and then you feed them and they walk out the door, they have to go to the bathroom. So how can you take some of that money for less than 2 months and put it there, have some porta potties, and help us out? Help us to solve a temporary problem as we progress through a bigger problem. And I mean, that to me seems good faith, that we're all trying to find something here. Why didn't the county talk to the city? We'll never know. But sometimes in between staff, you don't hear about it. So it just happens, it shows up on our agenda, and here we are to have a discussion. So also part of the procedure is we have somebody give a briefing, and then we can ask questions. We cannot give our opinion. So when people say you're not being transparent, we have to let you all talk first before we get to say what's on our mind. So we are being transparent. We're letting you have your say first to hear you. With that, I just don't understand how we can't at least have the dialogue using some of that money for less than 2 months to start getting some porta potties out there. How are we saying you're closing down? I don't understand that. You're sending them away for 16 hours. Well, then you're expecting the business owner to let them in their bathroom, even though they're not going to buy anything, and then they'll be in there sometimes for hours. So we have to be cognizant of everybody, taxpayer, business people, homeless. All of these people are part of our decision making, but we need to start having a better dialogue. And that's why we're here tonight. We can't do it off and break up in different groups and have this conversation, because it's the immediacy of it. You need it today, right? And so we're saying, help us help you. Take some of that money, curb it towards this, and then July 1st comes, and most likely you're going to find Christmas, right? So those are just my values, but feel free to say something.
Yeah, I'll take that bait. So my inbox has been flooded the last couple of days with nobody addressing the negative impacts mitigation, right? And business owners, homeowners that live down off of Marshall and Crane and East Avenue. People are frustrated. They don't want to see Turlock spend any more money or support anything unless the negative impact is going to be addressed in it. The other question that I keep getting, and somebody actually said it in public comment tonight, was, and it's asked all the time, how many of those men in that shelter are Turlock men? Because the claim is that less than half of them are actually from Turlock, and we're housing people that aren't from Turlock. So this is the feedback that we're getting. We have to address it. We all know, I think everybody sitting in this room knows how complex our unsheltered individual issue is. It's not just the money. It's not the mental health. It's not the drugs. It's not the lack of bathrooms. You could fill up 50 baskets trying to parse it all out because it's that complex. But we have to start somewhere with addressing the negative impacts that are hitting the remainder of the community.
Councilman?
Yeah, I mean, I firstly, thank you everyone for being here. You got to say thank you to us for listening, and so thank you for coming out. It's always nice when the public is involved. I want to start by saying that I agree with elements of what both of you are saying, because we do need to have this dialogue, and I think this is, a silver lining of all of this is we get to hash it out here, right? Because the public really wants us to talk about this. Business owners really want us to be talking about this and to address the negative impacts. When it comes to this particular issue, I feel like We Care, they did everything right. They reached out to us on February 8th to let us all know that they needed this letter and $1 of support. And for whatever reasons, it took us until the end of March for us to be able to talk about it. So, I don't think that it's fair to tell them that we're gonna, potentially hold these funds that you have qualified for, that you met the criteria for, and that are 50% of their operating budget for a couple of porta potties for a couple of months. With that being said, the bathroom need is great, right? Businesses don't want to deal with that in downtown. The cleanup issues are great. We need a solution there. So I really see a path forward for all of us to be working on these things, but the time right now when We Care is going to potentially, miss out on 50% of their budget I read the county staff report on this for funding that needs to be encumbered by the end of April. I just don't think that this is the right way to go about this. I would really like to see us come together to say, yes, we care, we value what you have been doing, and we need to do more. And whether that is a partnership of private entities and nonprofits and the county and us, our own budget has in our general fund, and I understand general fund money is a sticky wicket there, but we have a fund where we have a lovely narrative that says that we have allocated $160,000 for many years it's gone untouched, to say that we want to address homelessness. And so, I'm all in for what we can do, but I think in the spirit of being good partners, it's saying we support you and we agree that we need to do more. And so I really hope that you will consider doing this and letting us address the needs and solve the problems that I think we are all up here to do, right? That's what we are here for.
It's been said a million times that obviously unhoused and homelessness is multifaceted. Pastor, you put it very eloquent about the difference is a door. And We Care offers a door. They don't offer a door, from 9 in the morning until 5 o'clock in the afternoon for somebody to go behind to use a bathroom. I think that we, as partners in community with business, with what my colleague is saying, business, private, us as a city, I think we can come up with a solution for something as simple as a bathroom. Again, maybe I didn't use the right term at our last meeting about holding a gun to We Care's head about having a bathroom in such a short period of time. I think that withholding this money, because we want to have a bathroom right there right now is just short-sighted, and I hope we don't have to do that.
So We Care, are you willing to use some money for some porta potties out of the money if we were to do it? Come on up, please, yeah.
So first of all, the very next day after our last meeting, I spent at least 8 hours researching an option to get a bathroom to Turlock. I looked into the programs that Portland uses, San Francisco pods, where they go in and they have a time limit and it sanitizes itself before the next person. I've reached out to the people. That expense is $50,000, which we don't have $50,000. I reached out to our landlord, who I don't get to say I can put a porta potty. It's at their discretion, and they are 100% against a porta potty. They are agreeing that I can use my office bathroom when I am there, which Bobby is also there half-time. and allow them to use the restroom. But I can't make the decision to put a porta potty on property that's not my property. And that is an absolute, she will not agree to a porta potty.
Okay. I mean, in the future, it'd be a great conversation to have with TGM and everybody, but we're sitting here now. So let me ask you this, then can you take a portion of that money and put it into Helping Hands to have them out there trying to clean up all the feces and stuff for 3 hours a day? They're getting paid, I think 10 hours right now or something like that. They're doing 5 days a week, 2 hours. If we can make it 3 hours a day, all 7 days, so you're just doing the delta of that?
I mean,
So
obviously,
11 hours?
I'd have to see what that would cost We Care, and that would be a decision we'd have to make with our board. But like I said, we're willing to have these conversations. We want to help.
I'm just
you guys.
trying to have something before we vote, because I can only anticipate, I can read a room, but like, I don't know what We Care is getting from downtown, right? I'm sorry, not We Care, I apologize. What downtown is paying Helping Hands, it's, I think, what was the delta on that? 30,000 a year, and they're only doing 5 2-hours. So if we had additional 1 hour each day, so you make it, that's 5 there, and then 6, 7, or 3, so 6, 11 was all we need. Thank you for the counting. So if they're paying 30,000 now, and that's not even as much as they have. So what's that look like to you?
Before I let Mira speak, I just wanted to add one more thing to answer your question about the amount of people from Turlock. So far this year, 65% of the people that we have served have been from Turlock.
On 40.
Yes.
I think that, hi, this is Miras. Hi, Reagan. Congratulations. I hope you enjoy your retirement as much as I am. I think that we've got a little bit out of hand here with this. So the city of Turlock is refusing to give us $1 so that We Care can have $267,000. And that money was already allocated through the grant to run the shelter operation. It was not allocated to offer bathrooms. That was not anything anybody ever spoke to us about in the first place. So I don't understand. If we don't have the $260,000, we won't be open for very many months. If we have to put out $30,000 or $50,000 for a bathroom, that cuts many months off of our ability to be able to be open. I mean, I just don't think you understand the budget part of that for us, you know, and that's what we're really concerned about. We will have to close either before the 30th of June, or we will have to close on the 30th like we do and take 2 weeks off for our staff's vacation. We would not be able to maybe open until fall, October, November. I mean, it's you know, that's how tight the money is right now. I know the year is changing, July 1st for the county. I don't believe the grants, I could be wrong. I don't know if the county grants have already come out and Kara has even applied for them. So we did not receive the ESG funding. So we're already in a situation where maybe we would not be able to stay open for the full year to June 30th of 2026. So we can't take that money out of that money that's already been allocated to us to put in a bathroom. Now, if there's other funding available, I believe that We Care would be willing to, I'm speaking out of turn, I'm not there anymore, but you know, there has to be some negotiation here. If we don't get the $267,000, we will have to close early or not open July 15th and be closed until September, October. So that's kind of where we're at.
All right. And I hear you, but we have businesses closing because they can't take care of the issues that they have to by taking care of the economy and then the damage. And I'm sorry, I'm going to have the veto kid up here in a second. But so we have to take everybody into consideration. It's the conversation that you had with the county led us to where we're at now, right? So we're like, okay, wait, hold on. Let us at least have a good neighbor discussion here. You guys want the money? Help us. Help us to clean a little bit of Turlock, because you do understand that there's a lot of damage that happens during that. Everybody says, oh, they're only getting one meal. There's 56 different entities in 1 week providing food. So everybody's getting fed all the time. What goes in must come out. And we're trying to minimize that mess. Vito, did you have something else you want to say, sir?
So the CDBG and the Emergency Solutions Grant, HUD has not come out with a budget yet, so we have an expectation we're going to see a budget, and that will be released around May. So that money is, again, depending on what HUD does, but we.
So they haven't been denied.
No, they haven't been denied, yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, what's the will of council? Or comment? What do you got?
I did read something in the report about fundraising. Do you guys do that? When's the last time you guys did that?
Sorry, Corey, it's you. You should sit just in the front chair there.
We do fundraising. We actually have, we're going to be doing like a yard, we're going to be part of the Turlock Community Yard Sale on April 26th. We've put out a lot of appeal letters, so we do reach out to the community to help support us.
What percentage of your budget is donated? I mean, dollar, is that an easy number to?
The amount of money we receive in donations is a small portion of what goes into our operating budget. It's primarily due to these grants. And one, like the ESG grant that we went for, it was a significant amount of money. We didn't get it. And then this one came along, we were able to get it. It's a big amount. I appreciate what you're understanding with the businesses. And you would appreciate if all of a sudden you had to take $30,000 or $20,000 out of your business to clean up or do whatever. We have such a small budget to take that kind of money when I don't see this as being our fault. It's a community issue. It's not a we care issue. So why would we be burdened with the full amount? I would be glad as a board to sit with all of you and talk about how we can partner and do some of these things. But this grant was a separate thing to keep us going. And as Mayor said, we won't be going much longer if we can't find other funds. We're going to have to get some funds in addition to this to operate through 2026. So I'd be glad to talk with you about it. But I think, maybe this is something I see more as the businesses ought to get together and look at to fund for the porta potties, if that's the issue. Because it's not, We Care is not creating this problem.
Okay, what's the will of council?
Move to approve.
We have a motion?
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Abram? Yes. Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
No.
Councilmember Phillips?
No.
Mayor Bublak?
No. Doesn't pass with a 2-3. Okay. Is there any other option?
They've never approved anything, not once, as mayor.
So now you're gonna have more feces on the street because men don't have a housing anymore.
But then it's
Please take that into consideration. I feel for the businesses, but.
Okay, item 12, the city manager update. Go ahead, sir.
I believe they were written.
But he wants to say something. I don't know.
Turn it on.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Well, first of all, I've actually been very humbled tonight by all the comments that people have made. I've devoted 48 years to public service. And I'm 75 years old, and I've devoted enough of my time to do that. And I'm going to devote a little more time to Sherry. I'm grateful for all the support this council has provided me. Each of you individually and you as a council. You've done a really wonderful thing by helping me do my job better every day. Secondly, this council works really hard, and tonight's hearing is an example of how hard you have to work to do what you do, and I appreciate what you do. It's really hard work, and I really appreciate what you do, and I appreciate how much you care about the community, even though sometimes the community thinks you don't care. The fact is you do. The other thing I like about working here is there's humor in this workplace. You can move around the offices and whatnot, and you'll hear people laughing. And that's wonderful. So, as I go out the door tonight, I'm going to miss all of you, the people, not so much the job.
That's fair. All right, that was city manager update. Council comments, announcements, and future items. Councilman Rayburn.
Well, I wanted to, we've talked already. I wanted to publicly say thank you for coming and spending your last several years of your career with us here in Turlock. Thank you to Regan's family for sharing him with us. And we wish you very, the best in retirement. So, and also just a personal note of thanks to our city clerk, our mayor, deputy city manager for meeting with some young people today before the party and ceremonies. It was much appreciated for you guys to inspire the next generation of leaders. So thank you.
Yeah, I too just want to wish you well, Reagan. Thank you very much. You've always been you're always willing to listen. And I want to wish you nothing but the best, and don't fall off the boat off the coast of Italy.
Ouch.
Thank you. I can't say anything else because I'll start crying.
It's been a pleasure working with you, Reagan, in the short amount of time that I've been here. I wish you the best in your retirement, and best of luck, and travel as much as you can. So.
It's been really nice working with you, Eric.
I want to just remind everybody that there is the Arbor Day, National Arbor Day is going to be on the 16th of April at the 2:30 at the Four Seasons Park, District 4. And the Chaplain Fun Run, we were out there last Saturday. It was kind of cool. It's getting bigger each year, so very happy for them. They're creating a good gig going on. And then I really want to thank you, Reagan. You've been there for me, and I really appreciate that.
Well, it's reciprocal. You've been there for me too, so thank you, Mayor. We've had a good partnership.
We have. Thank you.
Very good cell phone number.
He's leaving it here.
Tomorrow morning. Yeah, I might forget the phone on my way to Italy.
No, ouch. Madam Clerk.
All right, we have 14A, Public Employee Appointment, California Government Code 54957B1, Title Interim City Manager. B, Conference of Legal Counsel, Anticipated Litigation, California Government Code 5495669D2, Potential Cases 2. C, Conference of Labor Negotiations, California Government Code 54957.6A, Agency Designated Representative, City Manager Regan Wilson, Employee Organization, Turlock Management Association of Public Safety, and Turlock Associated Police Officers.
All right, we will report out should there be anything. Thank you so much, and good night. Jesus. All right, thumbs up. Got it. All right, we are on, Mr. Petrolakis.
Mayor and members of the council and the public, there's a report out from closed session. By a 5-0 unanimous vote, the council voted to appoint Dr. Sue Borrego as the interim city manager for the city of Turlock.
All right, thank you, and we will adjourn for the evening.